My name is Tim Hill and my company is Utonic, and today we're looking at plantar fasciitis. So first of all, what are the contributing factors or the causes? So mainly this one, so inadequate arch support. So what we can see here is an arch, and with that the foot's nice and stable. We're not putting a huge amount of pressure on the plantar fascia because it's staying in a straight line. So basically, say if there's not enough support in the arch, it creates a torsion which is just going to place too much stress on the plantar fascia, and then it's going to lead to basically sort of the breaking down of that collagen and the inflammation, which causes the soreness sort of on the heel and on the sole of the foot. So these all work hand in hand. So we say inadequate arch support. So hypermobility. So say if your feet are hypermobile, then the chances are you may be hypermobile in other joints, which can be a contributory factor. So say if you're hypermobile in your feet, then you're going to have a very loose, floppy foot, and the chances are you've got the potential to have flat feet. So if that is the case and you know that you're hypermobile, then basically you say you might need some assistance to control your flexibility. So a simple term, some sort of orthotic insole, such as this one, which has got a good solid arch support, or maybe getting some custom ones made up, that could be something that might be able to help you. Short or weak calf muscles. So basically you say if a muscle is short, it's likely to be weak as well, because when it's short it's all contracted, and if the muscle is all contracted, then there's not much left that you can actually use. So by doing some self-massage into the calf region and trying to get those muscles longer via stretching, that will then help. And then obviously to balance that up, you've then got to strengthen them up in their new range. So yeah, we'll discuss those later on. So the next thing is short external rotators of the hip, and also then possibly weak glutes. There's a muscle that rotates the hip that kind of gets over involved if your glute medius isn't working. So potentially it could be say, well, the piriformis is one definite contributory factor. So if you know that you've got a 10-2 walk, so if you walk with your feet out like that, then the chances are that piriformis may be a little bit tight. But then when you walk like that, in terms of your gait, as you'll see from this video, you'll see that basically it places stress on that plantar fascia. It means that the bones in the feet can't lock up and do what they need to do, and that's what then leads to the pain and the soreness in the foot. Again, so if your glutes are weak, then you're not going to be able to control your foot and your knee and your hip when you land, and again that will cause additional stress on the plantar. So the other thing, running surface. So if you do a lot of uphill running and your feet are externally rotated, then, or your hip is externally rotated, which leads to the feet being externally rotated, then basically you're going to be propelling off on that plantar fascia and just stretching it repeatedly, and it's just not designed to do that. So obviously if we can increase the hip flexibility and bring those feet back in line a little bit more, that will help take the stress off. Similarly, downhill running. So obviously what goes up must come down again. When you run downhill, your weight obviously is going to increase by the forces of gravity. So obviously the faster you run downhill, the stronger you need to be to absorb that load. So again, so surface is a key thing. And also, say if you're a fan of trail running, I love trail running, but uneven surfaces. So again, so when you're running on uneven surfaces, the foot's going to be going all over the place, and obviously then it's going to challenge the hip as well. So that can lead to tightness, but also the sort of the torsional flex that it's not going to help in terms of guiding the foot, basically. Okay, so posture. So basically, posture is going to lead to muscle imbalance. So you're going to say if you've got a particularly lordotic posture, then you've got tight hip flexors, which then inhibit the glutes, make it hard for them to fire. So posture is something we need to look at as well. And then weight. So if you are heavier, then you are going to need basically more help or more strength to control the weight. So obviously the lighter an individual is, the easier it is. I mean, say when I was a lot younger and I used to play rugby, I used to get heel pain. So that was, say obviously I was quite heavy and I was running around in boots which had no support. So yeah, so that is a factor. So if you're heavier, you need to be stronger to control that movement. And then obviously that sort of goes hand in hand with footwear. So I mean, say if you were wearing the lightest training with very little cushioning and you're heavy, then that might not be the best thing for you. So if you're lighter, then you might need less cushioning. If you're heavier, you'll likely to need more cushioning. So a shoe such as this, that might help. So there are a lot of shoes these days now they're very light, but they offer huge amounts of cushioning. And I know a lot of people who have had plantar fasciitis who found something like this really, really useful, and it's given them more range in terms of the terrain that they can run on, and still encourage a midfoot strike. So when I'm standing on one leg, and if you look at what my foot's doing, you're seeing just through my natural posture, it's finding it challenging. So if I just elevate my arms, straight away my posture improves. So my core is engaged, my thoracic spine's opened up, and I'm finding it a little bit easier to balance. Now obviously when we run, we introduce movement of our arms. And as you can see, this is now really challenging my balance. So if I want to exaggerate this, if my torso is moving, you see what's now happening with my thigh. It's literally going all over the place. So I'll try again. So as I move my shoulders as I run, it's creating additional torsion and stress on that plantar fascia. What we need to do is learn how to isolate our core and get our arms to move as we run, so the foot can stay nice and stable. So what can we do? So if we start with the arch support, so even if we still have tight external rotators, you'll see that with the arch support, it's going to help stop that foot from collapsing and just take a little bit of stress off the plantar fascia. Then obviously if we then combine this with some stretching and some self-massage of the hips and trying to get those feet tracking in line, again it's gonna take the pressure off the feet and offer some guidance as to what the muscles of the feet are supposed to be doing. This should then help the plantar fascia settle down. Next, if we can improve our ankle flexibility, then what this will allow us to do is extend our hips further. So you may have flexible hips, but if you've got inflexible ankles, then you won't be able to extend your hips and thereby utilising your biggest hip extensor when you take off. And if you can't extend your hips, you'll need to work on your hip flexibility as well. I will add a playlist in the comments section of exercises which will help improve your strength and flexibility. If you need any more help with these exercises or have any questions, please leave a comment. You may also like to try my online stretch and roll classes. So they're delivered via Zoom and they're interactive. So what we do in those classes is we basically work on all of the traditionally problematic tight areas, and then so we loosen those off using massage balls and foam rollers, that sort of thing, combined with stretching, and then basically we then work on improving core strength using resistance bands and other exercises. If you want to find out more, then please contact me via my website or via the YouTube page. So again, if you found this information useful, please give it a thumbs up, leave any comments, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.